So hi, welcome to this podcast. I'm Shane.
I'm Glory.
And we're here with.
I am Mike, playing the band called Wounded Touch.
And some questions to say about the upcoming album, A Vivid Depiction of Collapse. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response to the announcement so far?
So far, it's been overwhelmingly positive. It's a lot of nice things have been said. A lot of cool comparisons. Is at least for like the older kind of like, Turmoil, Botch, Norma Jean, all that stuff. So so far it's been really, really cool.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
The album rips, dude.
Dude, we were talking about it before you joined, and we were both like, holy shit, this is incredible. That opening track almost had me stand up. If I wasn't tired and possibly, anemic, I would have stood up. But I couldn't risk it.
Possibly anemic is crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah. Insane album.
That's so cool. Mm-hmm. That's so cool to hear. Yeah, that first track, honestly, Nick sent me, our vocalist sent me like a voice like memo, like mimicking that. And I've been messing around with that, like octave tuning. And then I literally sent that over to him, and then it just snowballed from there. Like that song happened very, very quickly.
That's dope.
Fucking
I love it.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And is there any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
The first album, none of us were fathers. And then now this album, Nick and I are now fathers. And it's kind of like a societal, like unsustained, like type thing, kind of lines up with what's going on right now. And kind of like behind that is, kind of trying to leave the world a better place. Whatever trauma that him and I went through growing up, we don't impose that on our kids. It's just, it's a outlet for a lot of the dark stuff and a lot of like our parental anxieties, that we've been able to put in that, so we can, be positive in other places in our lives with our kids.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I love it. So can you tell us a little bit about the writing process for the album?
This one's definitely a lot different than the first one. We were able to actually kind of like sit down and actually be in a room and do a bunch of pre-production and stuff, like through GarageBand and that. And I kept a pretty good like track of it in like a notebook and stuff too. So pretty much like we all had it mapped out. We sent like the demos over to Andy, and he had a pretty good idea of what we're going for. And we were able to just kind of go into the studio and go off the notebook and just kind of go down the line and just get in and get out.
Damn straight. So pretty streamlined. That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. Because the last one was like kind of COVID, and we were like bouncing all across wherever we could. Mm-hmm. But this one was definitely more focused.
Gotcha.
So the notebook, was it like the songs were written in order? Like, the notebook, can we talk about like the idea behind the notebook? Is it just like the lyrics written out? Like, what is this elusive notebook?
So Nick had the lyrics for the notebook of lyrics.
Uh-huh.
I pretty much had like the song structures and transitions and pretty much everything like mapped out, like as far as like music wise.
Okay.
So that was kind of like, so there was like almost no question as to like, hey, how many times was this part and stuff. It's like, we were able to kind of put it on a whiteboard, like up while like we were tracking like guitar or scratch tracks for guitar and drums. Mm-hmm. So basically it was just like, hey, like here's the law, here's what we're doing. So it definitely helped us in the studio to kind of have all that mapped out and kind of take the thought almost out of it and just execute.
Yeah, it's etched in stone, and you guys knew what you wanted to play going in, so there was no point in like trying to know it by memory when you can just write it out.
Right, and we don't want to waste Andy's time.
Yeah. Was this new for you guys, or is this typically how you write? Like just writing it in notebook, knowing exactly what you're going to play when you go to the studio?
This was the first time we did that. It's kind of been all over the place as far as, different things that we've tried. As far as like all getting in together in a room. Our other guitar player, Kyle, lives in New York. So him and I are sending a lot of stuff to each other and stuff. So it's, I feel like it's ever changing. It's always some new hurdle that we have to like go through and figure out what's going to like work for us at the end of the day. But this one was definitely solid to kind of have all that like locked in before going in.
Gotcha.
I felt a lot more confident in a lot of things going in that way.
That's dope.
Damn
Hell
straight.
yeah.
That's awesome.
And if we can backpedal the last question for 1 second, totally skipped over the cover art. I got so excited to ask the next question. Is there any meaning behind the cover art?
Yeah. It's kind of like, again, kind of trying to protect your kid from the outside world, other things that are coming in. Obviously you can't be there for everything and you're going to grow and be their own person. But, it's just kind of like, as like hardships come and things like that. And, again, whatever trauma that him and I went, through as kids, like we don't want to impose that on, our children, so they don't have those same anxieties and stuff that we did. Well, we have, but that's kind of like, I think in a nutshell, kind of like what that represents.
Gotcha.
Wonderful.
I respect it.
That's beautiful. And what song off the album took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
I feel like they all came kind of quick,
Mhm.
at least to me. I think one of the ones that we spent a little bit more time on would probably be like Every Grieving Piece. That one, Kyle and I have had kicking around for probably like 12 years.
Mm.
So it was really cool to kind of see that like come to light and actually be able to see the light of day, because it does come from a time where obviously life was a lot different and very uncertain, and I think both him and I were extremely depressed at that point, and I was just really happy that we were able to kind of wrangle that song and make it a thing. I think another one that may have taken a little bit, I think, was like Dreams in Triage. I think that was, or maybe it was Collar Radio. And it was maybe Collar Radio. I think that one I like showed them first, and then as like things snowballed, like that just can't completely went on the back burner, and that one sat for a pretty long time before we kind of came back to it. So, but I think one of my favorites on that record is probably Between Consequence and Every Grieving Piece. I think those two are like some of like my favorite that kind of touch on a few different genres that I kind of wanted to, put in to my writing.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So you mentioned that a song on the record has kind of been in rotation for 12 years. You guys have been kind of trying to make it fit. So how did that come into the conversation for this record? Have you guys been just constantly trying to put it into a release and it just finally landed on this one? Or did you guys finally have that light bulb moment with it?
I think it was an odd thing. There's two songs that are on that record, Shield of White Roses and Every Grieving Piece. Those two are from like the same writing session from 12 years ago. It was for a different band of ours, but we really, really liked the songs, and I don't think like we completely forgot about them. I think I unearthed my MacBook from like high school.
Damn.
And like those like demos were still on them. There's a lot of demos on there that need to stay on there.
Of course, yeah.
But those two kind of like stuck out, and I was like, wow, I really want to kind of bring these to life. And I sent them over to Kyle, and I was like, hey man, like what do you think about this? And he goes, yeah dude, I'm down to like try and make it work. And again, it just with everything, it's just kind of snowballed from there.
Yeah. Damn straight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So how'd the track list for your album come about? Did you guys write the opener be the opener, closer be a closer, shuffle and see what fits? What was that process like?
I think it was all random. Like I think just whatever we were writing that day, it wasn't until we sat down and like talked to Andy. We're like, hey, like we want to map out like a nice like flow for like the record and stuff. And then that's when we kind of like sat down and kind of saw what worked and things like that. Another thing that I'm like really happy about is like the save point. Like that song is just kind of like, we wanted to rip off like the Silent Hill video game. So it's like, that's like the safe room that you're able to kind of be in halfway like through the record before the rest of the record kind of starts. That was a cool idea that Nick had.
Such a
Fucking
dope
awesome.
idea. I was like, this is so early 2000s nostalgia. Oh my God. I loved it.
Yeah, and like Ian, the thing that really made me happy too, Nick was like, "Oh, it sounds like Seven Angels, Seven Plagues," and I was like, "What?" And then he's like showed me that track, and I was like, "Oh wow, like that's not even like trying to, but like I was like really happy with that comparison."
Yeah. Hell yeah.
It's wonderful. And would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating the record?
Mostly, I was in a more positive headspace than I had been like previously.
Mhm.
I kind of fell into a groove with like my oldest. He's about to turn 4 here in a couple weeks.
Aw.
And it's just, and I had more changes coming because I just had my second back in March.
Damn.
Oh my God!
So
Congratulations.
thank you. So kind of like mentally preparing for that and getting this, it felt like I was able to get like a good like weight off my chest to move forward with what else was going to come with my family and everything. So it was definitely a positive thing. I remember leaving the studio very, very mentally exhausted, almost sick, because I like put like that much, like just I didn't sleep. I didn't really take care of myself for that whole like week we were there. But it was definitely like a liberate. I don't even know if that's like the word I want to use, but it was definitely like a weight lifted off of my chest when we kind of wrapped that up. So, but yeah, it was mostly positive and just forward thinking for once.
That's good.
That's great.
Hell yeah. So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should you do it in the car with friends, in dark with headphones on? Is workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
I would probably recommend like headphones. They're, like I said, like the lyrical content and stuff is like pretty heavy. Some people will connect with it, some people like really won't, because it is like pretty like personal. It's not like a really broad thing. But I'm just hoping that somebody can kind of listen to that and pull something positive out of it, and kind of use that either with their kids in life or with whatever changes that they're going through.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
great. That's wonderful. And this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
Heavy, pretty, and mechanical.
Ooh.
Industrial.
Ooh.
You're cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck with it. That's good.
Those are good. Hell yeah. And in that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
Yeah, anybody who ever's really lost anybody close to them, whether it's friend, family member, or anything like that. I think that there's a lot of positive that because we've gone through quite a bit of loss with stuff in the past. So, and a lot of that comes out in the music. And again, it's a lot of really, really dark content that's in there that I can only hope that people can kind of pull light out of.
That makes sense.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
Other than I think like us being like exhausted by like drilling it, I think like that was probably one of like the only like negative things, because really there was a couple writing sessions that we had in Nick's parents' living room while they were like out on vacation.
Yeah.
That like we kind of just like left like, dude, this is awesome, and like we had some like real eyes on that. But I think it's like we're always really hard on ourselves, so like being in the studio, I think we were kind of hard on ourselves, which I think we can work on personally. But I think that that's like the only like real negative thing, is that we're just like so hard on ourselves and stuff like that too. So sometimes we get like discouraged with like certain takes and things like that, but other than that, like this was a very positive process of everything.
That's great.
Oh yeah. For this question, I want you to picture you're on tour, you're at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
Probably a Gatorade and a Cliff Bar, honestly.
Hell yeah! What flavor Cliff Bar?
So I'm a fan of a few. There's the peanut butter banana one that I really like.
Yep,
There's the blueberry crisp one that I like.
Halt. That's a thing?
Yeah. There's like a blueberry like crisp one that I really like.
That sounds fire as fuck.
Yeah, that one's good too.
Yeah.
Obviously, of course, the basic chocolate chip. That's always a good one too. If you
Damn
can't
straight.
find anything else, and surprisingly, the oatmeal raisin one's really good too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So any one of those four, like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah. On our interview days, I almost live exclusively off of Cliff Bars because I do all the scheduling. I never schedule enough time for me to eat lunch. Glory somehow manages to do it. I don't. So I live exclusively off Cliff Bars. Sponsor us and sponsor the band.
Yeah.
In my early 20s when we were touring, it was like gas station. I was just reckless.
Yeah.
You know, gas station sushi, gas station pizza.
No.
Oh,
I don't think I've ever like I consider myself reckless with like gas station grapes, but I've never gone as far as gas station sushi. That's a bit crazy for me.
Yeah, like I said, I'm paying for it now. You know, like I got to make better choices.
Sure, you gotta warn the people. Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
You'll have heartburn the rest of your life.
Point taken.
Yeah.
Point taken. Hell yeah. And on the topic of food, if the band was a dish, what dish would the band be and why?
Honestly, I don't even know if we'd be food. I feel like we'd be candy. We'd be like Sour Patch Kids, you know, sweet then sour or sour then sweet or whatever it is. Yeah, I guess the two extremes of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Damn straight. I love that.
It's not really a dish, but it's a snack, I guess.
Hey, a bowl of Sour Patch Kids. I'm down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And for the last couple questions, going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
Honestly, I'd probably just keep it simple. I just a burrito from El Oasis, which is like a local food truck here, and a pineapple jarritos, and I'm just send me where I gotta go.
Exactly.
There you go.
Take me. I'm ready. Hell yeah. Yep. Yeah, because mine used to be like a California burrito. Dude, I get it. Those fucking burritos are life changing, man. I'm ready to go after those. That's just crazy.
Yeah. You know, just some handheld, quick, and away we go.
Damn straight. And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
I've been watching a lot of Dragon Ball Z recently, so like that'd be cool to kind of be in that world for a day, as long as I don't get blown up or eaten or all the other stuff that comes with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And I've done asked the last question. Every single person we've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What was your favorite color?
I like baby blue. I was gonna go baby blue.
Nice.
Yeah.
Solid. So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you would like to plug?
Vivid Depiction of Collapse comes out 5/16.
There you go.
That's all I got.
Love it.
Damn straight.
All right. Well, thank you. It's been Mike from Wounded Touch, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.